Hey, I've got a brand new scope. It's a Styrka 3 to 12 by 42. And what we do with brand new scopes is we take them out of their box, out of their plastic bag, and admire that beautiful, brand new, sleek, shiny black scope. It's time for a bath. There we go. Splish splash, I was taking a bath. Yep, into the tub we go. We're looking for bubbles and leaks. Listen, I don't really throw my scope in a tub of water first thing out of the box. But I do test it before I put it on my rifle. And why not? These scopes come guaranteed waterproof, fog-proof, dust-proof. Well, it's pretty hard to test dust-proof, but you can test waterproof really quickly right in your kitchen sink. And I don't just dunk it in there briefly. I leave it in for 10 or 15 minutes. This scope has been tested down to 3 feet for 30 minutes. That's a long time underwater. Now what I want to look for here are bubbles after the initial bubbles are off of it. There's always going to be some air sticking to it, but I want to turn some knobs and open some things up. I want to dial what can be dialed and see if that thing is going to start to leak. So I'm going to turn the eyepiece diopter in and out and see if that introduces any kind of leak, because that's the kind of thing that's going to happen in the field. Now this one has a parallax adjustment dial, so I'm going to turn that under the water a few times. Those things are usually sealed with O-rings. We'll find out if those O-rings are leaking or not. Now we're going to take the cap off and see whether or not the turrets leak. Don't see any bubbles coming out. That's a good sign. Now the inside of that scope has nitrogen purging. That means they've sucked out all the air and replaced it with pure nitrogen. The idea there's some air coming out, but that could be just up and underneath the cap. Always expect to see a little bit of air. Turn the dials down there, look for bubbles. And I'll leave this in for probably 15 minutes. Come back and see if there are any bubbles popping out. Give it some time. Now, why would somebody do this with a brand new scope? Well, because it's guaranteed, I can take it back if it's leaking and get it replaced. Styrka has a great guarantee. They will guarantee this scope for lifetime. Not just yours, anybody who gets that scope. If there's anything wrong with it, you take it into Styrka and they're going to fix it. They're going to make it right. And there's another cool guarantee. Once a year you can send it back for a tune-up. Anytime you want. You get one free tune-up every year. Now I'm not going to be sending my scopes back every year, but boy, after 5 or 10, might not be a bad idea. Well, after 15 minutes, things are looking pretty good here. I don't see any bubbles coming out anywhere. I've twisted and manipulated all the dials. I think we have ourselves a waterproof scope. Let's look inside. Now I want to dry off the outside of the scope, obviously. And before I check for water in the interior, I need to clean off the exterior lens surfaces with the appropriate micro cleaning cloth. Make sure your sink is clean before you do this too, because you don't have some old vegetable oils and whatnot in a sink. That oil is going to transfer onto your scope, so clean out that sink before you do your test. Okay, now all I do is look inside and see if it's fogged up. And not fogged up. Yeah, I don't see any fog in there. On the eyepiece end, I don't see any here in the objective. I think we passed our test here, folks. Now here's something most of us don't do, but you can literally take a flashlight and shine it inside of that scope and see the sidewalls and some of the lenses. It's just satiny black in there. and I see no hint of any kind of water, no scratches. Very clean, very neat, and that's a good sign for a well-built scope. You want to make sure there aren't any dings and scratches in there like it was sloppily put together. Now on this end I can see some of the grooves where they put these screwdrivers in to turn the parts in and put the lenses in, and those are all nice, clean, black, not scratched. Beautiful sidewalls, and no moisture that I can see anywhere. I think we have absolutely passed the water test.